Tonight, the rebel protests. It's December 24th, and wait until you see what happens when left-wing protesters are questioned.
Why should others go to jail when you're the biggest carbon consumer I know?
There's 8,500 customers here, and you won't give them an answer.
You come here once a year with a sign, and you feel morally superior.
The only thing I have to say to the government about why I publish it is because it's my bloody right to do so.
I like protests. I like going to protests, finding the usual suspects, or as I like to call them, the professional protesters, the rent-a-mob. And I like asking the protesters the most basic questions possible. Let's face it, most of these protests are for so-called global warming. They jet in some celebrities, everyone makes some signs. No one sees the hypocrisy of that. Well, this summer, I went to the March for Jobs, Justice, and the Climate. What's that even mean, by the way? And I asked protesters what they were doing for the environment. Take a look.
No, absolutely. I have a car.
Do you have a car?
Yes, of course I have a car.
Do you have a car yourself?
Yes, I do.
Do you have a car?
I do have a car.
We all use cars. Don't you use a car?
Yes, I do.
Do you have a car?
I have a car, and I know where this is going.
So on Sunday, I went to a big protest here in Toronto. Now, the summertime in Toronto is great for protests. It's really a way for a lot of people on the left to have a sense of community. I mean, they don't go to church anymore, which might have been a Sunday activity, and a lot of these folks don't have kids. They don't go to kids' sports activities. So what do on a nice summer day? Well, you go to a protest. Like I say, it's a hobby for some people, but a profession for others. There were so many professional activists, celebrity activists like Jane Fonda and Naomi Klein and David Suzuki all jetted in, which is quite something because, of course, they're against fossil fuels, but not against them enough not to use them themselves. There are other more obscure groups. There was the anti-island airport group. They don't want a bigger island airport here in Toronto. The anti-Bill C-51 group. Bill C-51 is a law that beefs up our terrorism laws. There was even anti-meat activists. Well, enough from me. Let me jump right in and show you a variety of clips I saw when I went down to the big rally of the antis. Let's start with some vegans who are anti-meat. Take a look. Another vegan killjoy here to ruin your day.
Killjoy here to ruin your day.
Are you a vegan?
I absolutely am a vegan. I'm a vegan for the animals. I'm a vegan for the planet. I'm a vegan for my own health.
Now, what does your hat say? Wishing Well Sanctuary. Is that something vegan also?
Yes. It's a sanctuary north of Toronto, a city called Bradford, where they have lots of farm animals that are rescued from factory farms.
Rescue, does that mean like they were kidnapped, or how did they get out of the factory farm?
They are either they fell off trucks or people take
Fell
them
off a
there
truck?
because,
That's a phrase for, this fell off a truck. Isn't that code for someone? What does that even mean? How does an animal fall off a truck and wind up in this sanctuary? That sounds a little fishy.
Some managed to escape it. They are heroes.
I tell you, these vegans had it all thought out. Well, at least they thought they did. Here's one guy saying he doesn't eat meat because cows, they fart. How come you get to fart but cows don't?
It's actually more, there's an actual technical term, it's more belching, but there's a technical term, and I don't belch personally.
Oh, come on, everybody does. Do you toot occasionally?
Of course, doesn't everybody?
Well, yes, and that's my point, is how can you be against farting?
We're not against it.
You're an anti-fart activist. Well, they're serious thinkers when they're dressed up as a banana, a chicken, or this guy dressed up as a cow. Just don't stare at his 4 nipples on the udder. I was riveted, I'll admit. I was interviewing these people, and as you could see, I was being as friendly as I could be. I identified myself by name and who I was with, the rebel. I was friendly in all our talks. The people didn't want to talk to me. I didn't pester them. There was 1,000 others I could talk to. But weirdly, after I talked to people at some length, a number of them came up to me afterwards and said, "You're not allowed to quote me." Here, take a look at that.
I've heard that you are known to twist words, so I don't want my message to be put out without my consent.
This is Rob Bugeaud again, that I do not give permission for you to use my interview.
There's so many interesting people of different walks of life. Well, that's not completely true. There was a disproportionate number of people in government sector unions. And in Toronto, which is a majority-minority city, especially downtown where most people are visible minorities, it was about an 85% white crowd. Now, I'm white myself, got nothing against white people. I'm just saying this was not actually as diverse an event as its organizers would claim. But I found this young man who seemed quite interesting. He told me how he's against fossil fuels, except for when he likes to jet around on his expensive vacations. Take a look.
I just got back from France and London.
Oh yeah, what were you doing there?
Just traveling. Yeah, exactly.
How can you wag your finger at other folks for using fossil fuel when you're a jet setter?
Yeah, I want to travel around. I want to go to different places, but I don't want to destroy the planet while doing it. But you know what option is I face if I want to go to France, right?
Hey, he's just like me. He doesn't want to inconvenience himself because of some abstract notion that the globe is warming. He obviously doesn't believe it's imminent enough that he has to actually change his lifestyle. Once a year, he'll show up and complain, and then the other 364 days, he'll jet around as he always wants to do. I was talking to this fella, this jet set environmentalist, when another guy recognized me and shouted that I was the devil. I didn't realize I was at some sort of religious revival, but like I said, a lot of these folks don't go to church anymore. They don't go to organized religion, so they've created their own cult-like superstition with their own rules, and if you dare dissent from their religious dogma about environmentalism, well, naturally, they're going to call you a devil. Here's my conversation with the guy who said, demons, out!
Don't talk to him. He's the devil, man. Devil, you're the devil.
Wait,
Change.
Now, the devil, is that
Take it out.
Are you a religious person?
No,
See you
not
later.
at all.
Thank you.
Not at all.
Okay, so when you say the devil, you mean that metaphorically?
Yeah, metaphorically, yes.
What have you done to lower carbon emissions?
Well, obviously, so I make a lot of personal choices.
Do you have a car?
No, absolutely, I have a car.
Well, that guy was making sort of his own homemade superstition religion, but I actually found a real priest who was wearing his clerical collar. I thought that was interesting, especially since Pope Francis recently opined on global warming. Here's my conversation with the priest. And I was trying to engage him in a conversation. He didn't like how it went. Here, take a listen for yourself. Do you ever use a car or buses or trains?
I do.
So you're not keeping the oil and the soil and the coal and the hole, are you?
I think, I don't know what to say to that.
I say again, it was such an enjoyable day, so sunny. There was lots of camaraderie, colorful outfits, funny signs, a little bit of a rev 'em up, and then of course lots of snacks and t-shirts, and afterwards, for those who are most dedicated, lots of marijuana. It was the perfect outing for a Sunday weekend. I think what it was a way for guilty white liberals to expiate their sins, to say, I am ashamed of my wealth in the first world nation, and I will pretend for one day that I don't like modern civilization, but then I'll go back to my air-conditioned house in the summer, my heated home in the winter, my four-wheel drive SUV, my jetting down to a cheap vacation in the Caribbean. All these folks who are just as pro-carbon dioxide, pro-fossil fuel as I am, but just aren't honest about it, who claim to hate energy and civilization, but actually love it just as much as I do.
So none of the protesters had done anything personally for the environment. Everyone had at least one car. Everyone had cameras, bags, clothes, all made from petrochemicals. What a bunch of hypocrites. Well, I wasn't the only one who riled up protesters. After the break, Brian gets in a fight with David Suzuki. You won't want to miss this. David Suzuki is probably the biggest environmental hypocrite I know. He jets around the world all for fighting climate change. I don't know how that works. I didn't get a chance to speak to Saint Suzuki this summer, but my friend Brian Lilly got up and close and personal at a protest in Ottawa, and let's just say it didn't go well. Take a look.
A few years ago, you were in the Charles Lynch room, said you weren't going to fly anymore.
When did I say that?
Before one of the previous conferences in a news conference.
I don't think so.
I'm sorry. I'm asking a question. This is
It's not interview time. We're walking.
Yeah, I'm walking too. Why'd you change your mind on travel, sir? Why'd you change your mind on travel, sir? Look,
I never changed.
Answer my questions. That's fine.
Just move.
You don't touch me. You don't touch me.
Just move. Just move.
Mr. Suzuki, why are you afraid to answer questions?
Yeah.
Why are you afraid?
Sir, why don't you respect our privacy for now?
Privacy. You're on a main road shutting it down.
Yeah, I probably would have acted in a similar fashion. But look, David Suzuki isn't the only phony climate celebrity. Check out what happens when Rebel contributor Chris Wilson asked Jane Fonda a question she really didn't want to answer while she was at a pipeline protest in Vancouver.
Well, why not go to OPEC nations?
To where?
OPEC nations.
Well, right now, this is where I am. I don't know exactly what you mean by that question, but right now, the drilling is taking place on the lands here, and we have to stop it.
You're not likely to go to the OPEC nations. I mean, that's not going to do anything. This is a people campaign.
That's right.
Right, because why would you protest OPEC dictators with no environmental standards, with human rights abuses, with Sharia law, when Canada is just a quick jet ride away and you'll be welcomed and turned into a hero? It's disgusting. Well, we did more than challenge environmentalists this year. Remember when our friend Lauren Southern went to something called a slut walk in Vancouver? I'll tell you about it next. You'll want to see this.
Looking for the perfect gift? Did you know the Rebel.media has a store? Make a statement with a t-shirt. Have your morning coffee in a Fearless Travel coffee mug. There's even an Ezra Levant bobblehead. It's a one-stop shop for the perfect gift. And don't forget to pick up something for yourself. Go to therebel.media/store to find out more.
I believe in feminism as in equality before the law for women, but that's not what feminism means to its modern practitioners. It's looking for a fight to fight when it's already won the important ones, I believe. And so one of the frontiers of modern feminism is something they call slut culture. And there are things called slut walks. I'm not making up these terms, they do, where young women dress slutty, their word, because feminism? Well, I was thrilled to see a beautiful, brilliant young woman and fellow rebel named Lauren Southern take them on. Lauren and our Vancouver team went to the Vancouver Slut Walk and simply held up a sign saying, there's no such thing as rape culture in the West, because that's slut culture and rape culture. These are weird feminist terms of 2015. Well, the feminists went on full attack. How dare she question them? Take a look.
You should know better. Go after the systems that excuse it, hide it, ignore it.
Hello, it's Lauren Southern here with Rebel, and I just got in a huge confrontation with the slut walk, which we are following right now. Essentially, I held a sign that said, we are not living in a rape culture in the West, which we are not. It is intellectually dishonest to think that we are living in a rape culture. Rapes do happen, but the vast minority of men and women are rapists. And when we do find out they're rapists, they go to prison, they are punished. Whereas in the third world countries and other places, men can get away with rape there. And it's insane to focus on this one issue and say that we are living in a rape culture. Rapists don't get high fives. We don't have the government funding rapists. Even men get fired from their jobs just for making rape jokes, not even raping. So to say we live in a rape culture is quite frankly ridiculous. All right, let's go follow the walk.
No means no! No means no! No means no!
You are attacking our cameraman. Yeah.
Nah, he was the one who touched me first.
Excuse me.
Oh, come on. So how do you believe your outfit is going to stop perpetuating rape culture?
It's my body, it's my choice. I can wear what I want. And it shouldn't, this is exemplifying how it's a crime scene. Like wearing the caution tape that they would normally put around a physical crime scene when it's not regarding a person, but regarding me, it's regarding people, it's not considered a crime scene. That's up. It should be. It's a violation of a person's rights.
So is this stopping rapes?
Do you have any stats to back up anything that you've said this afternoon?
Absolutely.
You said that rapists go to jail. Can you give me a stat to back that up based on the number of rapes that are reported, the number of rapes that get taken to the cops, the number of rapes that get prosecuted? Could you give me some stats to back up your pseudo-reporting here?
Well, first of all, out of the amount of rapes that happen, out of 100,000 people, 1.7 of Canadians actually, even just that's just reporting rapes. So
yeah, you know that less than 10% of rapes are actually reported.
Okay, where's that?
To the cops.
Where's that?
It's from all of the women's organizations. You can look it up online. You can find it through the socialized organizations that study rape. I participate with an organization that works as a rape crisis center. We base that on the number of calls. The police know based on the unofficial reports, the third-party reporting, and the direct reports. This is not a secret that about 10% of rapes are reported.
So how do you know 10% of rapes are reported if the others aren't?
Because those people call the women's centers, they ask for help, they seek medical attention.
So they are reported.
Get used to it. My short skirt is happiness.
I was just curious as to what her sign meant. That's all.
If you want to know what my sign means that this is not a rape culture, because rapists go to prison here. Rapists are actually hated here. Rapists are fired from their jobs. Men who make rape jokes are fired from their jobs. Go to Africa and you will see a real rape culture.
Yeah. Who's talking about it?
The whole point of the walk is to protest rape culture.
Lauren Southern went to that protest equipped with more than just a sign. She had her facts straight, and she challenged these pseudo-feminists on the rhetoric they had accepted as truth. Still ahead, not all the protests we went to were combative. After the break, farmers aren't happy with the Alberta NDP government. Find out what they have to say in a friendly, family-friendly way next.
Ontario residents are being hosed on electricity prices. The latest Auditor General's report says we've been overcharged by $37 billion over the last several years. That works out to nearly $2,800 for every man, woman, and child. Why? Mismanagement and bad policy choices from the Ontario Liberals. It's going to cost us billions more in coming years. Energy Minister Bob Chiarelli won't take responsibility. He's lashing out. It's time for Bob to go. If you agree, go to firebob.ca. That's firebob.ca and make your voice heard.
I want to leave you with some of the stories of Alberta farmers. These are the people who are mad at the NDP in Alberta for trying to lump their work into a union factory labor situation. Sheila Gunn-Reid has been doing amazing work going to these farm rallies and town hall meetings and doing more than the NDP. She's actually listening. Take a look at what a peaceful conservative protest looks like.
Bill 6 really threatens the potential for our children to learn and grow and make money on the farm.
And I was raised on a farm, and I would love to be able to pass that down to my children.
Not only is Bill 6 wrecking current farms, it's wrecking future generations and a lifestyle.
I just really am disgusted with the free rein this gives the government at our property.
The NDP government is telling my family, my 6-year-old daughter cannot go feed her sheep. She cannot go to the barn.
There shouldn't be red tape for farming.
My 12-year-old son spends about 100 hours every fall with his grandpa in the combine. He started when he was very young. To me, that's mentorship and that's training at its very greatest. And that would essentially be lost.
This is going to kill for the farms, and it's going to kill all industry. I have my own business doing on-site machining, and
we're here with a bunch of other people to speak our voice, to make it heard that we do not agree with Bill 6.
We brought our pig here to help support the farmers, and the NDP has to go.
It's pretty arrogant the way they try to stuff it down the people's throat without any consultation. It's a further insult to tell us how to run our businesses when none of them are in the business.
Those are good people, and we will continue fighting with them against this bill and its enforcement. That's our show for tonight. Let me know what you think. Do you like when the Rebel goes to protest? I do. Should we do more? Email me at Ezra@therebel.media or comment below, and keep fighting for freedom. Good night, everybody.